Yes, totally 100% true. I have never tasted alcohol, like not even a sip, not even like half a sip. Some are gonna be like, what? Totally true. Not clickbait. I don't really like to do the clickbait stuff here. This is 100% original and like truthfulness here. Now I will be transparent though. The reason why I've never tasted alcohol is because there's a religious reason here. So in my faith, there's this thing called the word of wisdom. And the word of wisdom talks about how we take care of our body. So it mentions some good things for the body. It mentions some bad things for the body. And one of the things that it mentions that's bad for the body is strong drink, right? And it's referring, in this case, to alcohol. But let me read you the section just so you get the exact wording over it, and then just so you're like in the know, right? So it says that inasmuch this, so in the section it's called, so the word of wisdom, it's section 89 in the Doctrine and Covenants, and it's verse 5, and then a couple verses after that. But it says that inasmuch as any man drinketh wine or strong drink among you, behold, it is not good, neither meet in the sight of your Father, only in assembling yourselves together to offer up your sacraments before him. And then it says, I'm skipping a verse here, and that says later, and again, strong drinks are not for the belly, but for the washing of your bodies. And then later on, and this is now, it jumps to tobacco, and obviously I don't do tobacco either, but, and I, obviously alcohol and tobacco are different things, but let me read verse 8 including this. It says, and again, tobacco is not for the body, neither for the belly, and is not good for man, but is an herb for bruises and all sick cattle, to be used with judgment and skill. And so that's in the section where it gives us warnings about what to not put in our bodies. But later, it talks about grain and herbs, and it says, every herb in the season thereof, and every fruit in the season thereof, all these to be used with prudence and thanksgiving. And then later on, skipping a couple of verses, it says, all grain is ordained for the use of man and of beasts, to be the staff of life, not only for man, but for the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the heaven, and all wild things that run or creep on the earth. So, obviously, like, if you're a person who's, like, allergic to wheat, like, well, don't have wheat, obviously, but, like, all other grains are good. So, like, this word of wisdom has really guided my life. Like, that's the root, like, the doctrine here, of taking care of our bodies in general. And so, there's a promise at the end of this, though, because, like, you know, a lot of times we think of religion as like, oh, I can't do that, and 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 the list just, like, goes on. And right, like, I mean, we could definitely view it that way, but that's not a very positive way. But like, the main thing is that there's a reason for not doing something. Like, if God says to not do something, there's probably a really good reason. We may understand that reason, or we may not, but the commandment is, like, still the same, right? Like, the commandments don't, like, change from century to century. Like, the commandment is what it is, and we either obey or don't obey, basically. So the promise is, though, and with each commandment, and as we obey each commandment, there's, like, a promise that we get in return for obeying the commandment. But with this particular one, it says, and all saints who remember to keep and do these things, walking in obedience to the commandments, shall receive health in their navel and marrow to their bones, and shall find wisdom and great treasures of knowledge, even hidden treasures, and shall run and not be weary, and shall walk and not faint. And I, the Lord, give unto them a promise that the destroying angel shall pass by them as the children of Israel and not slay them. Amen. So this is a promise that we will have our health if we obey the commandment. So, and I'm sure most of you are like, wow, even as a teen, like, you were invited to some party and then had a couple, like, sips and then didn't tell anyone. Legit, I was very on guard as a teen. And that could be because obviously my parents, who were active in my faith as well, had said, you know, we don't drink. Like, this is our family standard. So just, you know, you need to make sure that you're not getting into messes and stuff, right? So I was very aware of that in high school, and it made me more aware of making sure, if I was ever offered anything, I knew what the answer was before that. Because if you wait till being presented with something and then you make your decision there, you're more likely to go along with a crowd. But if you know from day one, we don't drink, that's not an option, you're not thinking at the moment you're being presented with something, oh, what should I do, right? You already know. So then that temptation is a lot less. But also I was very well aware of the fact that there are sometimes consequences and unfortunate consequences, not related to health, okay? Going past it being not healthy to drink, right? Let's ignore that for a second, the whole thing. But what are consequences that can happen by drinking? You and a bunch of friends and I, we all got to drink, let's say, and we have a powwow, a party, and there's some drinking, and we all just have a couple sips, totally innocent, right? We just drink till the sun comes up. At some point, we got to drive home, right? What can happen if all of us are drinking, right? Let's pretend that in this situation we all had some stuff to drink. There could be a car crash. And we could all be fine, but what if we hit someone else? And what if they died? Or what if they were in the hospital for months recovering and had to go through physical therapy? And frequently we think about how does this affect me? And if I'm fine, well then why not do it? But it can also inadvertently affect other people. We're driving and we're totally drunk. Or even if we're not even driving, what if we, while under the control of alcohol, do something really stupid and then get in trouble and then get put in jail? Or we get in a fight with someone and then accidentally, because we're totally controlled by this alcohol, we're not able to really have our own wits about us, that we end up getting in a fight and then killing someone. And then, I mean, I'm sure there's people that have done that, obviously very few, right? Or that it was even a possibility. I know it's out there, but if you decide to stop before it even gets there, then it'll never lead to disaster, right? So for example, if you choose to not drink, for example, then all those possible consequences that are really far stretched, and I know I'm stretching it to the worst possible thing that could possibly happen on this planet, right? But you eliminate a whole lot of heartache and potential heartache from what could have been. So if you nip that in the bud in the get-go and you don't even drink, then there is not even a 0.5% or a 0.1% that could even happen. It's just not even on the table, right? And so you never want to give a substance the ability to control, one's own body, right? So that is basically, and I know some of you are like, wow, she's crazy. Wow, special. Yeah, I know, it's okay. We're still friends. But just this, I'm trying to explain how my thinking was as a teen. And even now, obviously that, sometimes we think oh, the teens or the early 20s is your time to party, to live it up. And I feel I didn't miss out. And I feel I was 100% coherent for that whole early stage, and I had fun. I mean, I chose to not drink. Instead, I went ziplining off the Great Wall of China. Instead of drinking, I went and had fun in Paraguay. No, it wasn't Paraguay. Paraguay was later. I went and had fun in Bolivia and did some volunteer work at an orphanage. There's things that you can do to be productive. You could, there's so many good things out there. There's so many better things out there. It's kind of this thing. I heard this talk one time, and it was about good, better, best, right? There's good decisions, there's better decisions, and then there's the best kind of decisions. And so what are we going to choose? How are we going to live our life to make it the most worthwhile, most impact-oriented type of life, right? And there's great choices out there, and we just have to try and make the best choices rather than the better choices or the good ones, ideally, in a perfect world, right? And so just being aware and knowing from the get-go that drinking was not an option helped steer me in the right directions. For example, and this is a very real positive influence that it's had on my life, I was able to choose a husband who was good to me and treated me kindly. And I found him in a place that, most people find spouses, right? In a university setting. But as I think about it, like if I had chose to drink with friends in high school, or post high school, like even in my early 20s, like where do a lot of people hang out? The bar. Is the bar the place to meet spouses? I mean, you could, but I mean, like, ideally, that wouldn't be like the gold mine for finding husbands, right? The gold mine would be in a university setting, in the building that houses the future doctors or the future lawyers, right? Like that, and that's the place to find husbands, or like a good solid church, right? Like the church going guy is going to be more likely, probably, to treat you with respect and loyalty than someone who's drink until the sun goes down and drink until the sun comes up. Okay, I'm just being totally real. And I don't want to sound harsh. I'm just being real. And sometimes the truth can sting and hurt. So I want to be very, like, chill. Like, you and I are friends here. Like, just being real with each other. So I feel like I was able to make those solid decisions in my early life to lead to the greatest amount of happiness because I was willing to sacrifice and give up a life of potential drinking. So I feel like my life has been blessed for that. I don't have a husband who is like abusive to kids or abusive with alcohol to his own body. But we're able to live our own lives, be coherent 24/7. Well, except when we're sleeping, right? But like being totally coherent anytime we're actually awake, and really form these great lifelong memories and not have to feel like we're like not even fully with it because we're under control of a substance. So I feel like it's been a great blessing to my life. And did I lose potential friendships over this? Oh, I'm sure I did. I'm sure that I could have had a whole set of different friends, but I chose some solid friends in high school who were not in the party crowd, and I was able to get through high school without making any crazy mess ups. And I'm grateful for that. So for all of you that are shocked, yes, it is true. I've never tasted alcohol, but hey, I think I'm pretty normal. I'm happy. I'm happy about it. It's been good. It's been a great 36 years of life without alcohol. And I plan to make it at least another 50 more. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. Comments down below. If you're trying to quit, I fully support you. Anyway, keep me posted. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk soon. Bye.